Good morning, everybody. My name is Francis West. My company is West Tech Solutions, and my security company is called Security Everywhere. And let me start by telling a story. As we heard earlier, that stories are important. I've got, sadly, too many stories in this head. Last February, I was standing, you know, the good old days when we were doing face-to-face networking. I was standing in a lovely bar in London, and there was about 30 of us sitting there over lunch. And I was speaking to this young gentleman. I think he was 24 at the time. He runs a small estate agency firm, and you start telling each other what you do. And eventually he said, "So what do you do?" I said, "I'm in cybersecurity." He said, "Oh, I so wish I met you a few months ago." I said, "Why?" And it makes me sad to tell you the story, but I'll tell you anyway, because this is what happened. So he said to me, "My dad runs a small building firm. And in December, that's December 2019, unfortunately, he clicked on a link and he was scammed, and he paid an invoice to one of his suppliers for £45,000. Now, the money is gone. He had to pay the money again to the supplier. The bank didn't want to refund his money. But here comes the sad bit. So it took his dad 2 weeks to get the courage to phone his son and say, "You know, son, do you remember I promised you that money for your deposit for your house? I can't give it to you. And you know that money I promised you for your wedding in 2020, not that it would have happened, I can't give it to you." And if I tell you, I get phone calls from so many people where they're on the phone crying to me, and they say, "Francis, please help me. You know, I've lost my business, or I've lost this, I've lost that, I've lost," only in the last few months, 3 businesses that I know of in Hertfordshire, one lost 1.4 million, the other one lost 65,000 euros in Ireland, and another one lost, a young gentleman lost his entire deposit because the accountants were hacked. This stuff is serious, but the problem that I find with everybody is they always come to me after they've been done. And I'm going to hopefully encourage you today to take some action, because believe me, what we've seen since last April has been an increase in scams by 660%. I've been in this game for 30 years and I've never, ever, ever seen anything like it. And that's why I made this my mission. I have been doing it for the last 3 years. I've made this my mission. I just didn't see this coming in the last 2 years. So and the hackers go after the smallest companies, because the smallest companies do not have the protection in place that the big boys do. The big boys gets done, but the smaller companies get, and when a small company gets done, they lose not only clients and reputation, but they lose their entire profit for 1 year easily. So I've only got 20 minutes, so I'm going to give you a very fast flying tour, but I'm going to put some fun into this just to see how predictable everybody is. So what I'm going to do in a minute, I'm going to show you a picture on the screen, and the first thing that comes into your head, I just want you to type into the chat, please. Don't overthink it. Just type whatever comes into your head first. So you're ready to go? Name a vegetable. So carrot, potato, carrot, cabbage, Brussels sprout, cabbage, carrot, beetroot, sprout, broccoli, cabbage. I know that's quite a few people. So tell me, just put your hands up. Who said carrot? Quite a few people. So I reckon at the moment we're probably sitting here at about probably 40% predictable people. So let's do one more. Remember, whatever comes in your brain straight away, just boom, just do it. Name a color. Blue, 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 purple, red, blue, pink, blue, red, purple, orange, purple. So who said, hands up, blue? You started to get the point now, okay? So let's do the last one. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Name a flower. daffodil, rose, daffodil, clematis, lily, daffodil, rose, sunflower, rose, daffodil, rose, daffodil. What can I say? What does this tell you, ladies and gentlemen? This tells you that if I can easily guess what you're thinking, I'm known as a white hat hacker, so I promise you, I do all the demonstrations I do purely for demonstration purposes. If I was a black hat hacker, I would have been multi-millionaire a long time ago. So the point that I'm making here, of course, is if you can imagine anything that you can think of like this, a hacker can think of, or a scammer, which means they can find this normally on your social media. And this is why I'm going to show you in a minute a quick video on social media that I want you to share with your kids. Because this whole thing, cybersecurity, is something that we need to start educating our children from a very young age. Why? Because as soon as they can swipe left or right, we need to educate to help them protect themselves. So let me show you I'm just going to skip a few videos because of time, but let me show you this video. This is my favorite video. You can't make this up. Can you hear okay?
Yep.
Oh, hi, can I help?
Can I have a hot chocolate?
What's the name?
Joelle.
What was the name?
Alex.
Alex. There you go, Johnny.
Cheers.
If you like our Facebook page, we give you a free hot drink and a free pastry.
We have a new line for Damien. We have a new line for Damien.
Hey, Carly, are you standing by?
Standing by. Hi there, can I help?
Yeah, I just liked your Facebook page.
Okay, I'll search Facebook
I'm
now.
searching Google.
Have a phone number.
I've got his email address.
Okay, Carly, are you ready for information on Damien?
Yep, I am.
Mother's maiden name is He banks with
Carly, this is the girl coming in now with the blue scarf.
What's the name? Nicholas.
Nicholas. His date of birth, 7th of May. She lives at 38A.
Just be a couple of seconds.
2 children, age 4 and 6. Previous address. She's got photos.
Yep, got it. Damien, age 26 and a fitness instructor.
How do you know what that?
Oops, sorry.
Brody, who goes to UCL. Martin, who went to South Thames College. Assistant psychologist at Great Ormond Street. How did you know?
That is... I don't really understand.
Oh, better?
You know I'm a Christian as well.
Oh, yeah, we know everything about you, Martin. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Anna from Russia.
I wish I could show you your faces. So who uses Facebook? Most people. Do not put anything on Facebook that you can imagine that somebody can use to find your identity or to use your identity against you. It is, but please share this video with your kids because they need to see it. I'm always having a battle with my 21-year-old and 17-year-old with the stuff they post online. But did you see that woman at the end? What do you think did she do with that cup? She put it in the bin. You know, you can't make, and people wonder why they get hacked because we make it so easy for them. Let me continue. So there is, let me ask you a quick question. So we're all using Zoom today, right? So how many of you have changed your Zoom login password since the 1st of April last year? 1, 2, 3, I'm counting 3, 4 people, 4 out of 25. Now, did you know that in April, Zoom lost 500,000 people's username and password? Now, that's okay if you are not using the same password for Zoom as your Netflix, as your baby alarm, as your Amazon, or as your words, your email account. Now, do you see the problem here? So when the stuff gets lost and ends up on the dark web, they can buy your record for less than 1 penny per record, 1 penny. And then they go and they, like a key, they'll check every single account that you've ever used, some that you've even forgotten about, and they'll try and get into your accounts. And that's how hackers and scammers get into your business and into your accounts. So now you can understand why I'm so adamant when I say to people, please, 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 please never use the same password ever again. And we'll come back to that in a second. So people say to me, so how do I, show me, how do I get hacked, right? So this guy, this Chris, he's, or the guy on the left-hand side, he's a world-renowned reporter in cybersecurity. And a couple of years ago, I think it was 2019, he goes to this world hacking competition, and he says to this guy, Chris, listen, I know my stuff. I know how to protect myself. I've got everything protected in my life. You know, I do this for a living. Try and hack me. Watch this. This is what happens next.
So what were the first things you did? How did you start hacking me?
I quickly found your Squarespace blog and had an idea. Basically what I did was created a bogus Squarespace
Press it on button.
site and sent an email to you, a fish asking you to go to this website, run this certificate installer.
And I did it, because I'm an idiot.
So once you ran that, it gave me access to your computer, and I created several fake pop-ups that looked like system pop-ups that would ask you for your credentials.
You didn't even have to have my passwords.
No, you gave them to me.
I gave them to you.
Yeah. So I stole your 1Password keychain.
And 1Password is where I store all my other passwords. So effectively by...
And your social security number and your Amex stuff and all your stock trading and bank information. I can send email to everyone in this room as you. I am you right now, if I wanted to be. If my evilness is working correctly, it should actually be taking pictures of your desktop and pictures through your webcam every 2 minutes. And I have been watching you for about 2 days now. In coffee shops, at your mom's house, on a plane. Here's you editing stuff. There's you like.
Oh my God! So this is literally
every 2 minutes
through my webcam.
Yeah, through this guy.
How badly could you have messed up my life?
I could have made you homeless. I could have made you homeless and penniless.
How? How would you make me homeless?
Like I have control of your digital life in its entirety. I have all your credentials. I have all your access to all your financial information, all your work information, all your personal information. I can pay people with your bank account or your Amex account. I am you. I can fully impersonate. Like, the only thing I couldn't doctor would be like your fingerprints.
This is like as bad as it gets.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's bad.
So it turns out that Dan Tentler is very... So what were the first things?
So you can see from that it just takes one click. And this is why I always add the next slide and say the biggest threat that any business or one-man band or even a home user has is using email. And we don't have a choice, because the email door is the only door we can't ever close. And 91% of attacks come in by email. So, you know, one of my questions I ask a lot of people, are you only relying on Microsoft or Google to protect you? Or do you have an external security solution that kind of cleans the emails and inspects all the emails before it gets to Microsoft? Because sadly, Microsoft and Google does a very bad job of taking out these threats that are coming in every single day. And if you consider that every second there's 4 new versions of unknown threats or scams or malware attacks being released on the planet, so can you imagine how many are released by the time we finish this little talk that we're doing now? So I put this slide up because, you know, Ted always says to me, oh, there's only 3 people. He loves me. He always wants me to say that, but it's true. There's only kind of 3 kinds of people on this planet. Those are going to be hacked, those who've already been hacked, and those are going to be hacked who do not know they've been hacked. And I'll make that a fact. So in the UK, according to the latest statistics, 68% of small businesses have already been compromised. The problem is that it takes them on average 237 days before they find out. And that's the scary part. Because why? They're relying on the flu jab to fix COVID. They're relying on old AVG, McAfee, Norton, all that stuff to try and protect them against new variants or threats. It just doesn't work. So now I'm gonna, because of the short time, I'm just gonna give you some things that I highly recommend you do when you're working from home to secure your systems at home. The first thing is probably the best thing that you'll do, and it's free again, is to set up what I call a guest Wi-Fi. Because let me just check. everybody's sitting in front of me now, how many of you are connecting to the same wireless network as your son, your daughter, or your partner? Just hands up, please. That's almost everybody. Now, why am I saying this? Think about COVID. COVID and cybersecurity, sadly, have got so many overlaps. So if you're sitting in your house, if you work by yourself, don't worry about what I'm going to say next. But if you are working at home on the kitchen and you're connecting to the same Wi-Fi as your daughter, your son, who's downloading from some dodgy gaming website some infection, which happens all the time, that infection will just propagate like COVID to the rest of the computers in the house. And the simplest way to fix this is to create a second Wi-Fi on the same internet router. So if you don't know how to do it, just phone up BT or Virgin. I promise you, it'll take you longer to phone them and get through to them than it will take to set this up. And then what you do, once it's set up, so you leave your old one called whatever home Wi-Fi, set up the new one called work Wi-Fi, disconnect from the old one, reconnect to the new one, and do not share, please do not share the password with your kids. So then, if any of the work devices gets infected, that infection can't jump over the fence into your work Wi-Fi. Think about it as like virtual rooms. You know, it can't cross over. And that's why you are then self-isolating your work devices from the rest of the devices at home. The second, probably best thing you can do is to set up multi-factor authentication. And so many people I meet don't even know what it means. You all do, because you've all used these little credit card things where you stick in your card and it types in a number before you log on to the bank. All that's happened is that nowadays we've moved that onto your phone. So if you download a little app called Authenticator, it's a Microsoft app and it's free with a little white block. You can download it, and what it does, it allows you to create these codes on your phone. You can see that I have probably about 30. I don't touch any application unless it's running multi-factor authentication. So I bet some of you are saying, what's multi-factor authentication? Well, if you think about something you know and something you have. So you know your username, you know your password, but something you have is this little, either in the old days that, or in the new days this. So in other words, unless somebody is standing right next to me with a gun against my head and asking me for my code and my face, there's no way they can get into my accounts. It is that simple. And this is the easiest way that you will protect your account. So what I need you to do today is to go and make yourself a list. Make yourself a list of every single application that you're using. I'm talking about, you know, if I look at my list, Facebook, Zoom, Xero, HMRC, PayPal, your Instagram, LinkedIn, Google, you know, I've got a long list here. And then go into the security settings, click add multi-factor. Some people call it two-factor authentication. Say turn on yes, and then it will ask you to add your Authenticator app code, and it'll take you through step by step. I tell you, once you've done the first one, you know, it's easy. Otherwise, phone me and I'll do the first one with you, not a problem. And I'm going to skip a few here. Then I'm going to go to number 4, which is trust no one and use a password manager, please. Did you know that every time if you use, like, say, Google Chrome, and Google Chrome pops up, you know, when you go to a new site and you say save passwords, did you know that it saves it inside your browser in clear text? Which means that if I can get onto your computer, which I mean, I can do it with one single email, you clicking on it, and now if I install what we call a keylogger onto your computer, PC or Mac, please don't think Macs are safe. And now when you sleep, I'll log on to your Chrome, Google Chrome, or Safari, and I'll look at every single place you've ever been to, including every password that you've ever used. Thank you very much. For one click. So by using a password manager, you are putting all these things inside a secure vault. And then, of course, the secure vault is protected by a very long sentence and multi-factor authentication. So the hackers can't then get into your password manager. And I promise you, we provided for a lot of this, my prop. A lot of clients. And a password manager that we supply costs less than a pint of Guinness per month. So there are other areas I wanted to touch quickly, about obviously backups. You've got to back up your data, but when you get these texts from clients, or sorry, from friends or family to say, oh, have a look at this scam, and then people are, the kids are screaming and Zoom call is starting and you click on that link, just takes one click. And now you've infected your phone. So what I recommend, if you please report these scams, and you can report them to, if you open up your keypad on your phone, you can type in the word scam, but scam is actually 7726. I don't know if you know that. If you look at 7726, it's the same as scam. So you should remember this now. Just forward the message and then delete it. Because whilst it's sitting on your phone, it's sitting there like a little landmine. And you don't want to have any landmines on your phone. But here comes a best free way to protect your phone. There's an app called Sophos Intercept X. I'll show you what it looks like. There, it's a little blue blue icon.
Could you repeat the name, Francis?
Sophos. I'll type it in the chat in a second.
Okay, yeah.
So Sophos Intercept X is a free piece of software that protects mobile devices. And it's been free for 2.5 years. I don't know how much longer it's going to be free for. It's brilliant. Put it on your dad's machine, your kid's machine, your mom's machines, and just download and install. You'll see the very first time you install it, it will look on your phone and see if there's any existing infections and then clean them anyway, which is great. So please do that. That's point number 7. But if you're unfortunate enough to get hacked, what you'll have to do is you're going to have to either phone Action, but you shouldn't because you're using me. But if you did, you need to report it to Action Fraud, and of course, worst case, you need to report it to the ICO. So in summary, that was the fastest one I've done in a very long time. I hope I've created awareness. I hope I've given you a few ways to protect yourself. And lastly, if you want to see how we can help, Password Manager, like I said, this is one of the solutions we do, the backup, the full backup. So we back up the entire Office 365 estate for less than a pint of Guinness per month, or endpoint protection. We've got a team of 100 security specialists sitting in the US that manages your security on your computer or Mac, anywhere in the world. And we've got clients with 1 machine or 500 machines. It doesn't matter. We love working with the small companies. And then we have email protection, and then finally we have packages if you want a combination of all those protection services together.